In New Game Plus, my goal has always been to revisit the best versions of the games I have already completed. However, this isn't always possible. Some games have never been updated, like ActRaiser or The Bachelor, and there are some games which I've already completed the best versions of. This is true of today's game, God of War. It's no secret that God of War on the PS4 was one of my favorite games of last year. It took the series in a completely new and more emotionally mature direction. But with that said, we can't forget about the original God of War. This series has become one of my favorites, and I have done just about everything there is to do in a God of War game. Is that going to make revisiting this game seem stale? Let's find out when I recomplete God of War.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Completionist New Game Plus, where I am recompleting the first 120 games I ever featured here on my channel. A big thank you to our sponsor for today's video, Era of Chaos. More on that later in today's episode. Now, it's no secret that God of War on the PS4 was one of my favorite games of last year. It took the series in a completely new and more emotionally mature direction. But of course, we cannot forget about the original God of War on PS2. You know the one I'm talking about. Instead of lecturing his son, Kratos would scream at a moment's notice and rip off the heads of his enemies. That one. That's the one we're going to talk about today.
So when I first completed God of War back in 2012, I went in totally blind. I had never played a God of War game before, and I did not know what to expect. And boy, have things changed. I have now completed almost every single God of War game in the series, and I've loved every single one of them. The vicious gameplay, the epic music, and the gorgeous graphics make for an amazing action experience. But the best part of the whole series has got to be the main character, Kratos. He's easily the most badass Mediterranean protagonist in any media ever. Take that, Heracles, or as many properties incorrectly refer to him, Hercules. Do your homework, Hollywood. Having seen where Kratos ended up with the most recent God of War game, I was excited to go back to it, where his journey first started. Kratos was once a captain in the Spartan army. When his men were about to be defeated, Kratos asked Ares, the God of War, to save them and give him the strength to defeat his enemies. Ares obliged, but in exchange, Kratos now had to serve Ares as his servant. One day, in order to make Kratos a better warrior, Ares tricked Kratos into murdering his wife and child. But instead of making him a better warrior, it angered Kratos, and he renounced his servitude to Ares, swearing to get his revenge. Yo man, this is up there with the darkest video game backstories of all time. It also makes it much easier to sympathize with Kratos. As opposed to just being a murderous brute, he is a man driven to violent insanity by thoughts of revenge and nightmares of his family that he was tricked into slaughtering. This violent insanity is perfectly shown in the hack and slash gameplay. This is classic PS2 era mature violence with tons of limbs and heads ripped off with the aid of QuickTime events. Now, this game helped define what action games would be for a long time. Just one man slashing through dozens of enemies with ease. Not that this game is easy. It is incredibly difficult to actually kill a god, and that is reflected in the difficulty of the game itself. Now, this game was tough, but it felt rewarding to go through it for all 3 playthroughs that I had to do. I had to give it a completed. But could that happen again? See, I'm recompleting the version of God of War that's in the collection on PS3, just like I did all those years ago. A lot of things have changed for me since then, including the introduction of the newest God of War, which featured some of the best combat I've seen in years. It could feel completely stale practicing being a god slayer once more. Or maybe I could just become a god with no effort at all.
Now, before we continue the episode, it's time to open Pandora's box of sponsorship. Let's open it up. And look at that! It's our sponsor, Era of Chaos. The classic saga returns as an epic army battle strategic RPG. Era of Chaos is a free-to-play mobile game set in the well-established fantasy realm of might and magic. Experience large-scale tactical battles and various PvP game modes, with over 7 game modes actually. This game features the classic story of Might and Magic 3, so you can expect to encounter beloved heroes, iconic creatures, and the same great art style and music that you're used to with this franchise. Help the Queen reconquer her throne in the main campaign with 18 chapters and over 255 story missions. Collect over 20 heroes and 80 creatures, with even more to be added in the upcoming updates. And that, my friends, is Era of Chaos, today's sponsor. If you want to check out the game, head to the link down below and sign up today. Doing so helps the show, so help us out today. Sign up and play the game And now, back to the show as I seal Pandora's box of sponsorships for the next one. This could be you inside here.
When you have played a game so many times, it is easy to think that there is nothing else in that game that can surprise you. But when you find a thing that does, it not only makes a game a completely new experience, but it makes the original way of playing feel new again. God of War is all about one man's journey to kill a god. Fortunately, you are given many tools to do this. The Blades of Chaos, the Trident of Poseidon, even Medusa's head. But the most powerful tool that I found was not actually a part of the game at all. It was a glitch shown to me by my Twitch audience. A Twitch glitch, if you will. Early on in the game, there's an area where you obtain Medusa's head. When you get the Medusa head, you are given a little challenge room to showcase how to use it, and the game gives you unlimited magic. However, if you leveled yourself up properly, you have the ability to jump above the door that's locking you out from continuing in the game. Normally, you'd have to murder everyone to open that door, and your infinite magic goes away. But if you keep launching yourself above that door high enough, eventually you'll just go over that door, and suddenly you'll have infinite magic for the entirety of the game. Normally, I'd be talking about hacking and slashing my way through waves of enemies with the Blades of Chaos or the other weapons you unlock, but I had no need to. Instead, I just kept using spells to keep the enemies at bay. I would use Zeus's Fury to attack enemies from afar with lightning bolts, and as soon as they got close, bam! Hit him with Poseidon's Rage. Normally, I'd find this as a reason to complain about the game, but this was so much damn fun. I was all powerful and could destroy any enemy without having to break a sweat. Gorgons, zap, you're gone. Centaurs, bye-bye, you're dead. Undead Legionnaires, oh, no, you're gone now. I became so powerful that I actually completed this game in 2 playthroughs instead of 3 I had to do the first time around. Now, in order to truly complete this game, you have to beat the game multiple times. You need to beat the game to unlock the hardest difficulty, God mode, and you need to beat the whole game in under 5 hours to earn the Speed of Jason McDonald trophy. Well, with this glitch, it allowed me to beat God mode and get the timed trophy at the same time. Now, originally, I got the Jason McDonald trophy set just by setting the game on easy and using one of the unlockable costumes. Now, that isn't even necessary anymore. This glitch changed everything and made my revisit faster and more fun. But if I had to do this another time, I feel like it would have finally started to become monotonous and repetitive. Upgrading yourself feels almost unnecessary. Even though my magic was essentially endless, I still had to collect all the Phoenix Feathers to upgrade my meter. Despite the fact that no one ever really got close enough to me to touch me, I still had to find all the Gorgonized to get my health to be bigger. These items still feel important and great to collect because it just reiterates the fact that yes, not only is my character progressing with the health and magic meter upgrades, but I am a god, which means my meters are always full and large. Collecting the red orbs from dead enemies and chests is still useful for upgrading my weapons and magic, only furthering this narrative that I am the god before I even defeated the God of War. But I have to be careful. Unlimited power is exciting at first, but it can get very boring very fast. That's why the gods of Mount Olympus meddled in the affairs of man so much. They were bored. Fortunately for us, there's the Challenge of the Gods. Once you beat the game, you'll unlock these 10 difficult challenges that usually involve killing specific enemies before a time limit runs out. This would be a breeze to my newfound unlimited magical abilities, but there is no Twitch glitch for me to use in this mode, so I had to do it the old-fashioned way. Going from an almighty magical force to a mere mortal was daunting, but it was awesome. Because of the massive change from bottomless magic to limited magic, it actually became even more fun than when I first did it. The challenge changed from something I had to do to complete the game to a challenge I had to do to prove that I was worthy of being a god. And I haven't had that gaming experience anywhere else. Completing all of these challenges results in getting unlockable costumes that are useful and hilarious. My favorite one is Dairy Bastard, where you are dressed as a cow, but the ability of unlimited magic is kind of useless once you've already reached your magic potential. I was worried that revisiting God of War on the PS2 would be boring because I have played so many of the games in the series at this point, but because of a few of my helpful Twitch followers on my channel, I was able to experience this game in a completely new way. It actually made me feel like a god. Wait a minute. I literally had some followers go to a place dedicated to me, and their words gave me immense power to defeat all of my enemies. That means I am literally a god! I am the Completionist, god of destroying games. All bow before me!
Dude, calm down!
What?
Gerard, you're not a god! You just like video games. That's it. It's okay.
Yeah, sorry. I guess I let all this game power stuff go to my head. All that machismo can do a lot to you, you know? When it comes to completing God of War, it's pretty obvious what's at stake here. Get all the trophies, beat the game on the hardest setting, clear all the battle challenges, all that stuff. The nice thing is that all of it is pretty straightforward, so it's not too complicated, as long as you just keep focusing on doing what's best for you. Originally, when I completed this game, one of the biggest things for me that made the whole experience worth it was the God of War phone number rewards at the end of the game. And I still believe that those 2 phone numbers are the reasons why this is one of the best games to complete. The first phone number you find at the end of the game on your first playthrough. You have to destroy both of those statues at the end of the throne room. Don't sit in the throne room until you've destroyed both statues. Once you've done that, you've got a cryptic phone number that plays out in front of you. When you call that phone number, it goes to an automated machine in which Kratos congratulates you for finding this Easter egg and playing his game. Hilarity ensues. Now, the second phone number, which I find to be more important and more rewarding, is the one you get for completing the game on the hardest setting, God mode. In this instance, Kratos congratulates you and praises you in all of your awesome glory and abilities for getting this far. And of course, from there, we have a plethora of cool and fun costumes to enjoy on multiple playthroughs for the years to come. One of the more fascinating things about the internet in the most recent years is how much these conversations just kind of keep happening online. And when it comes to God of War, there was something that happened a few years ago which is kind of funny. In 2017, Elon Musk tweeted out his phone number online. People made fun of him, but they didn't realize the number he tweeted out was just one of these phone numbers from the God of War Easter egg. So bravo, Elon Musk, for getting all those weird clickbait articles written about you. While these phone numbers aren't anything you can't find online, the process of completing God of War is still absolutely worth it. Whether I'm playing this as a god or as a god slayer, it is still just as much fun as when I completed this game the first time around. When I recompleted God of War 1 for the PS3 collection, there were 2 playthroughs, which was 1 less than last time, 8 deaths total, which was a lot less than before, 18 Gorgon Eyes and Phoenix Feathers collected, but because I did 2 playthroughs, double those amounts. 10 challenges completed without the aid of unlimited magic. This was still difficult, but it was still a great time. 36 trophies unlocked, which are still relatively simple if you just pay attention to the game, what's going on. 7.5 hours of total playtime, which is less than a third from the first time I completed it. And one man who truly became a god to complete this game. Me, I was that man.
You're not a god, man. You're just a guy that likes video games. That's it.
I loved the original God of War the first time I played it, but getting to revisit the game with unlimited game-breaking magic made the game completely new for me. I still felt like a badass, but for a completely different set of reasons. It honestly made me wish that every game I revisited had some kind of infinite power that I could just use and abuse. And even without the infinite magic, this game is still incredibly awesome. If you don't want to exploit the glitches in the game, it is absolutely still worth playing till this very day. God of War is one of the best games from the PS2 era for a reason. So, with that in mind, guys, I still give this game my completionist rating of complete it.
Complete it!
That's all the time we have for today, guys, so please, as always, let me know what you thought about today's episode somewhere on the internet. If you liked today's episode, do us a favor, hit the like button, leave a comment down below on what games you want to see here on New Game Plus. Once again, a big thank you to our sponsor today, Era of Chaos. If you want to check out the game, there is a link in the box down below. I've been Gerard the Completionist, and we'll see you next week for the brand new episode. Bye-bye.